Greetings, folks. This is Gregg speaking. How are you all doing this morning? I'm at my job site here. I haven't done many videos lately because I'm working about as hard as one could possibly work on projects. I feel the urgency, economic distress coming, and I need to raise capital for things I want to do. We get through the winter, and there's virtually no work around here. This house is on the bluff. There's a house. We got work to do on that too. I got probably about 200 feet of cord stretched out here. Number 10 wire. We get power to our project. There's a lot of crazy things going on in the world now. This is the staircase I'm working on. COVID, stolen election, things you thought could never happen. The elites in this country trying to start World War III. I'm sure you know what to think about those things. I don't need to rehash them all. They're certainly placing the rest of the world at risk. So, we're repairing these stairs. Were damaged by the weather, wind, waves, the ice. I gotta get painted too. Power washed and painted, that's another project. We're building a new landing out here. And then we're going to turn this stairs into the side of the cliff here. You see the side of the cliff. So that's the lumber from the scrap lumber there from the tear apart underneath the stairs. The tear apart that we did. Part of it last winter. The old stairs had a platform down there with a stringer running to it. Now we're going to build it into the side of the cliff. So we got a chop saw there, repaired from the rain. Okay. So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. This is kind of my desk right here. Piece of the old stair stringer. That's the horizon. So over there would be part of northern Wisconsin, depending on which way you point the camera, and Escanaba over there, Michigan. Alright, so we have a copy of The Good News of Messiah here. Right there. I want to read you a passage. I'll read from the book of John here. Okay, I might as well read the whole paragraph from John 1:17 here. Give you a close-up of it. The Good News of Messiah. I'll put my specs on here so you can see. It's just a quickie video. There's work to be done. So, there we go. Very nice. framed in the meaning of the framing. Just read through the back of the screen here. And Yochanan is testifying about him. And he has been crying out, saying, "This one is he of whom I've spoke. The one after me coming, before me, has been appearing, because he has been over me. Because from his fullness we have also all received." Well, I twisted the words around there, didn't I? Because from his fullness we have all also received loving kindness after loving kindness. Because the law has been given through Moses, the loving kindness and the faithfulness revealed therein, always through Yeshua the Anointed, have been carried out. So, it's a very interesting verse. You know, most of the Christian world is deceived about this verse, and even most of the Messianic world is deceived about it. I'll turn the camera around here. There we go, my disreputable, disheveled work attire. Okay, so I'll just shoot some scenery here and talk about it. Okay, so in the King James Version, this verse is typically a buttonhole proof text, which basically it goes, the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Jesus Christ, just to give you a summary. And the way it's interpreted to mean that nothing good came from the law and grace and truth came from Jesus Christ later on. Okay, so that's basically a summary. And of course it was the Gnostics who came up with this interpretation, but the larger church inherited this crazy interpretation and still uses it to this day to as a apologetic for rejecting the law, rejecting the Torah. So the Gnostic craziness is kind of like the woke left's craziness today, which is trying to get us all destroyed. The Democrat Party, and I would say about 80% of the Republican Party in disguise are the parties of death, especially the Democrat Party, but the Republicans are big hypocrites because they keep going along with them and don't stand up to them like they should. They're pushovers, right? Where it counts, they don't. I mean, you know the drill. You know what's going on in this country, what the elites are doing, what the corporations are doing, how even the conservative side is in politics is enabling the radical left. But everything comes down from false theology. Turning away from God's law is at the foundation of this, and the blight of sin is finally reaching critical proportions, a critical climax in history. It's reached climaxes at various periods of time, reaching a climax now where there will be real consequences to be paid for everyone because of it. Okay, so in the religious realm, there's just as much deception as in the political realm. In fact, I would say more deception going on there. The devil's working very hard. Okay, so to exposit on this verse a little bit here, to give you some background on it. And Yohanan is testifying about him. Okay, so he's talking about Yeshua, the Messiah, and Yohanan is John the Baptist. Okay, and he has been crying out, saying, "This one is he of whom I spoke. The one after me coming, before me, has been appearing, because he has been over me." Okay, so this is an important theme in John, the book of John. Of course, the author of John is different than John the Baptist. Okay, so John, tells us that Yeshua came after him, but he also says Yeshua came before him. And the important thing here is because he has been appearing, because before me he has been appearing. All right, which means Yeshua didn't just appear once before Yohanan, but he appeared multiple times. And of course what John is referring to here is Yeshua's appearance as a Malach Yahweh, okay, or the angel of the Lord, who really, of course, is Yahweh, he who makes be the Lord. Okay, so this is an important context, and of course context is everything in interpreting Scripture. You don't want to overload the meaning of the words with your theological opinions. You want to pay attention to the context. And because Yeshua came before John the Baptist as the divine messenger, the messenger of Yahweh, or we call the second Yahweh, manifesting in a physical form, the unseen Yahweh in heaven. Okay. He is the giver of the law, the giver of the Torah, and he was seen on Mount Sinai. Okay, so that's a very important piece of context to this verse. Okay, Yeshua came before, and he was the giver of the law. Okay, because from his fullness we all also have received loving kindness after loving kindness. Or loving kindness on top of unloving kindness would be another way to put it. Loving kindness in place of loving kindness. Okay, so John regards the giving of law as an instance of God's loving kindness. The loving kindness that came before. Okay, so in the law, grace is revealed because the law was given so that we could choose life and not choose death. Okay, the law was given so that we could observe it and live because we benefit from following God's rules that he made as the creator. Okay, so that's the first loving kindness. And then of course he brings the message of forgiveness and purging and cleansing from sin through his blood as a second instance after John. Okay, of course after John the Baptist, and of course John the emissary who's writing this book, of course, is writing after all of this has happened. Okay, so Yeshua is the purging for our sins, the cleansing from our sins. Okay, so John goes into more details because the law has been given through Moses. Okay, so he's referring to the first instance of loving kindness there. Now, the beginning, I've divided the verse differently than in the usual translation. Okay, so we end our thought here on verse 16 with because the law has been given through Moses. So that's the first loving kindness. And verse 17 is going to detail the further loving kindness that was given after the first loving kindness. Loving kindness and faithfulness. Okay, notice there's no but here in the translation. That's because there's no but in the Greek text. That was added by the King James under the influence of the Gnostic opinion. The loving kindness and faithfulness. And also notice that it says the loving kindness and the faithfulness. The Greek has two articles here. So referring to something definite and known before. Okay, and John wants to include everything, including the loving kindness and faithfulness that God showed us in giving his law. The loving kindness and the faithfulness through Yeshua the Anointed have been carried out. Okay, so I have supplied some words in italics here. The loving kindness and faithfulness revealed therein always through Yeshua have been carried out. That's Yohanan's point, of course, according to the context. We can read the verse without the italics. The loving kindness and the faithfulness revealed therein always through Yeshua, I'll talk too fast. The loving kindness and faithfulness through Yeshua the Anointed have been carried out. So what John here is, he's emphasizing that all the loving kindness and faithfulness of God revealed in the Scripture are through Yeshua, have been carried out through Yeshua. At first as the messenger of Yahweh, the Malach Yahweh, or the representative of Yahweh, representation of Yahweh. That's how we could translate Malach. Okay, and so he's connecting both the covenant of old and the new made covenant of old here. Okay, loving kindness after loving kindness for us. So we see that that to teach differently on this verse is to teach, people would teach a deception. They wouldn't know how to unravel it. And this is unraveled in the good news of Messiah. There's more in the footnotes, but that's about all I have time for you today, because I'm working hard and I've got winter projects and other projects to work on Scripture, the Hebrew interlinear, of course. But I thought rather than just doing a drudgery of work all day, I need to do this video primarily, or chiefly, because if I'm working so hard, I feel like I'm really getting nothing spiritual done, and of course it would help my attitude toward the work immensely to take time out for some spiritual content, for some good teaching. All right. So thank you for listening. This is Dan Gregg, over and out.